Welcome to the second part of the presentation on knowledge visualization for Wikipedia. As mentioned before, this project is an MSc project completed as part of an MSc in Computing Knowledge Management by Jinhui Wang in the Dublin Institute of Technology, Ireland. The visualizations created as part of this project are available from the web address below, http://www.comp.dit.ie/dt217/jwang/jw.html. If we go to that page, we can see that presented is details about the project and details about how the project was created. The project was created using a number of parsers to extract the history of revision of Wikipedia article content, and uses Google Motion Visualization API to present a dynamic visualization of how that content changes. The test bed for the work in this dissertation was the knowledge management article in Wikipedia. If we take a look at the knowledge management article in Wikipedia, we can see that it starts, as most Wikipedia articles do, with an introductory section. In this case, it presents what the community views as a definition of knowledge management, and it continues then to present the contents of the remainder of the article, section by section. This article is particularly interesting as a visualization topic because knowledge management is a cross-discipline research area. And even if we look at the knowledge management article itself, it presents itself as having a number of perspectives: the technocentric perspective, the organizational perspective, and the ecological perspective. If we are to view knowledge management, the knowledge management article, we could expect that at any particular moment in time, members of holding particular perspectives will be contributing and others will be contributing less so. So it will be interesting to see how that will be reflected in the changing content. As with every article in Wikipedia, we can view how the article has been revised. So if we look at the revision history, what we see is we get a list of all the edits that have been done to this particular page, and as you can see, the knowledge management article is particularly active. If you look in more detail at what you can get from this revision history, you get the date and time at which an edit was undertaken, who did it, the section that they edited, and if they choose to, they can add additional comments to let you know some of the motivation, some more detail about what was edited. But if we want to use this as a knowledge source, it's very difficult because we've got a lot of different people editing, doing changes to different sections. We can't get a particular view on why the community was updating at any particular time. If we return to the main page of the visualization, we have 3 hyperlinks which will allow you to explore the visualization a bit more. The first hyperlink is a visualization which uses a word count metric to track changes in content to the Wikipedia page on knowledge management. What we get is a grid on which sections of the knowledge management article appear as bubbles. Initially, the grid shows all the bubbles as the same colour. The colour of the bubble depends on the number of words appearing in that section at any particular moment in time. The colour will change if we choose to click on that particular option on the grid. So what we can see is if we choose to have different colours appearing based on word count, if the number of words in a particular section increases to 1000, the bubble will appear as yellow, continuing on to appear in the red range as the size increases. We can also have different sizes of bubble depending on the number of words. So as the number of words expands and contracts within a particular section, the bubble related to that section will also expand and contract on the grid. We can mouse over the bubbles and see the names of the section. So if we look at the start of this particular visualization, which is based on logs taken from Wikipedia starting from June 2003 and continuing until August 2008, in June 2003 there were only 4 sections: managing instructions, control versus creativity, further reading, and see also. If we mouse over a bubble, we see the name of the section. We also see the number of words that were appearing in that section at that particular moment in time. If we play the visualization through, what we can see is bubbles appearing, disappearing, growing in size, changing in colour, and it gives us a perspective of the rate of change of that particular article. If we move the time slider, we can move back in time and get a snapshot of what was happening in that article at that particular date line. We can click on a bubble and highlight it within the visualization, and we can replay what happens to that section with the title appearing. So if we want, for example, to track further reading, it's a section that kind of emerges into June 2003, and it continues to exist throughout the entire timeline. Initially, through the initial stages, it's quite small, but towards the end of the timeline in August 2008, we can see that it has over 1,700 words. If we want to perhaps investigate the relationship between the section further reading and one of the other sections, such as references, we can highlight both of them and replay the visualization. Again, we can investigate why various sections are appearing in the positions that they're appearing. So for example, key concepts in knowledge management is a section that emerges, and we can see that it disappears quite rapidly, and perhaps it might trigger us to go and look at the revision history of the knowledge management article and perhaps investigate how the content of that section has been incorporated into other sections within the Wikipedia article. If we return to the main page, the second visualization uses two metrics. It uses words and contribution count. As previously, we can change the colour of the bubble, which represents a section in the knowledge management article. So if we change the colour based on the number of words appearing, and we change the size based on the contributions to that particular section. And if we play the visualization again, we get a picture of how the contributions are increasing, decreasing along the horizontal axis, and the number of words increasing, decreasing along the vertical axis. As previously, we can investigate particular bubbles in more detail by simply clicking on them. When we mouse over a particular bubble, we see the number of contributions shown on the y-axis, on the horizontal, and the number of words shown on the vertical. So for example, the section external links has 117 contributions and 120 words in August 2008. As with the previous visualization, we can move the slider to replay the timeline, and if we move back to the start of the timeline, in this case July 04 or June 04, we'll see that there are a small number of sections: the development of KM, definition, criticisms, references, and see also. So perhaps we would choose to maybe perhaps look at the definition and track what happens to that particular section, and also the external links. So if we move the slider on, we can see that the definition is increasing, external links is remaining pretty static, but all of a sudden definition disappears. What we can see is that perhaps we could conclude that while people are contributing to the definition of knowledge management, they are also contributing to the external links to support their definition. The fact that definition disappears in 2005 would perhaps trigger us to see whether the community has changed the content by moving the definition into the main sections, other sections of the Wikipedia article. We should also perhaps look at the references and the see also, and see how they increase, decrease together. What we can see is that at the end of the visualization, the contributions to external links and see also are moving quite consistently along the horizontal axis, but are not particularly moving along the vertical axis. Whereas if we look at this particular button, further reading, what we can see is that in contrast, that starts off as quite an insignificant button, and indeed doesn't really appear until May 2006, but by the end of the visualization it has 1,700 words and has a number of contributions of 48. If we return to the main page, the final thing is that we would like to ask you for some help. If you click on the final hyperlink, it will bring you to an online survey, and if you could spare a few minutes, we would very much appreciate some feedback on the visualizations that you've seen in terms of their usefulness for users of Wikipedia and potential as a knowledge sharing resource. Thank you very much for your time.